For this lesson, I'm going to be making the drawings for printing and for dimensioning. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I've got this little cutout here that's going to be on my table. And so rather than build this again, I'm going to type in mirror, and I'm going to use this mirror command a lot throughout this lesson. Select the portion, and then find the midpoint and select it up. Now, I should select, do I want to erase it? No. I'm a little hurry here and I've forgotten to do this. But let's go ahead and type in mirror again. And I'm going to do both of these sides and go to the midpoint and scroll and come straight down and press enter. And make sure if this isn't working, look at your snap settings, make sure the midpoint is on and that the polar tracking is on. If those aren't on, this won't work. All right, so let's go ahead and do these bottom pieces, these little cutouts. So I'll go ahead and select them. I'll type in mirror, select the objects. First type in mirror, select the objects you want to mirror, and then press enter. And then find the midpoint, move the mouse and select it. I don't want to delete them, so hit no. All right, so there we go. So that the construction is essentially built. I still do need to dimension all this, but I'm going to go ahead and build the bottom portion. And so if you look at your drawing, it's about 20 inches, so you want to be about 20 inches below. If you are using this on the laser cutter, you want to get as close as you can so you get a really better yield. On the laser cutter, this is too far. The pieces are too far from one another. But so let's go ahead and put my mouse below it, and I'm going to take my mouse and just come up, and I'm going to type in 1.25 inches. All right, and then move my mouse to the left 1 inch, and you want to look at your drawings, come down 0.5 inch, and this is going to go in the slot that we put on the other table. And then move my mouse to the left 0.75, and you can always hit escape to kill a function, a command. Push enter and escape. All right, and so far so good. Go ahead and go up 2 inches, and then come over 0.75, down 0.5, over an inch. I all snap there. And then what I want to do is I want to come straight up, and the gap, looking at my drawing, is 15.5 inches, so I type in 15.5. Press enter. Move my mouse to the left, and this would come over 1 inch, and then down 1/2 inch, and then over 0.75 or 3/4 inch. I can always snap to that point. And then I'm going to come up 2 inches. And I'll finish this over, come down 0.5, go over an inch. And this dimension is a little tricky here. So I want to go up 1.75 inches. I'm sorry, 1.25 inches. Press enter. And then I'm going to move my mouse to the right, and I'm going to type in 46.25. And press enter. All right, and hit escape. All right, so I've got this inside that I want to take care of, and I notice that the line is 3.5 inches below the top. So what I'm going to do is type in offset. All right, push enter. The distance is going to be 3.5 inches. That's what the drawing tells me. So type in 3.5 and enter. Select the line and move it below, and then press enter. And then I'm going to go ahead and continue building this from the bottom. Click and then move my mouse over. Type in 2.25 inches. And if I can't do, the angle doesn't show up, just have your mouse and go straight up and just go beyond the surface and the lines, and then hit escape. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to rotate this. So I'm going to type in rotate, R-O-T-A-T-E, and press enter. I'm going to select the object, press enter, and then click on the point that it's going to rotate from. And I can do this with my mouse here, but I know that this is going to go over 11 degrees. I actually want to type in not positive 11, but minus 11. So undo that, Control Z. Type in rotate, select the line, press enter and the point, and then rotate it at minus 11 degrees. That's clockwise. And then I need to trim off that excess area there. So let's dimension this first, make sure the dimension looks good. It looks fine. All right, so it's 79 degrees, and that's what I need. So far so good. Let's go ahead and type in trim, and let's get rid of that excess material. Press enter, and then select what you don't want. All right, select the top from the cube. All right, so rather than building this all over again, obviously I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in here, and then I'm going to mirror that. So I'll go ahead and zoom in here. I'm going to type in mirror. And this is a little tricky because I actually just want to mirror it off the top line. Type in mirror, and I'm going to select everything but that bottom line and press enter. And then I'm going to be mirroring it around the center of that top line. So go ahead and click it down. And I don't want to delete the source object, so I hit no. All right, and then I can go ahead and type in trim and clean this up. And hit trim and enter. And so essentially now the part is has been made. So let's make sure that I get everything, all the dimensions onto the dimension layer. So I've activated, now that's my active layer because now I'm just going to be dimensioning this thing, right? So let's just select my dimensions. We'll just confirm that all these dimensions should be on my new layer here. So I'll select them all, and then I'll go to the properties command, and it says varies. I'm going to select them all onto the dimension layer, which is my current layer here. And I could turn it off, and I could tell because it's active, it's going to give me this weird alert, but that's fine. So 0 is where everything is except for the dimensions. So now I'm going to go ahead and dimension this out the best that I can, and you're going to want to do the same. So I'm going to do most of this with you. So let's go ahead and do this. 23 inches here, 14.25. So I'm just going to continue dimensioning this the best that I can. All right, so look at your drawing, try to get as close as you can to it. If you're having difficulty, hit escape. Let's just go right onto that. So I'm going to hit escape, do that again. And I'm trying to line these dimensions up so it's a nice clean line all the way across, which is the way you're supposed to do this. Okay, so far so good. And I'll keep dimensioning this. All right, so keep dimensioning all the little parts here. And you're going to want to make sure that you're working on the layer that says dimensions. All right, everything looks good so far. And the most important thing you can do right now is you actually want to make sure that the dimensions between those 2 points here, where the tabs are, is the same. And they should be at 16.5 inches. If they are not the same, this project will not work for you. So these have to be at the exact same dimensions. So the center of these tabs has to match, and they're at 16.5 inches. So make sure that you verify that. Okay, so mine looks good so far. So let me work through this. All right, so now I'm in the 0 layer. A couple things you want to make sure. Let's go ahead and, if we're using laser cutters, all this has to be in the color red, right? So I'll select color. It has to be the primary red. And then on the laser cutter, it needs to be cut at the thickness of this. Actually, the line weight is what we want here. Has to be at 0. But when you plot it for a print, like as a PDF, you may want to make that a little thicker. But when you use a laser cutter, that has to be at 0 and it has to be in red. All right. So I'm going to make this a little thicker. And if you make the line thicker and you don't see it, you actually have a setting in AutoCAD. You come to the bar on the right, the 3 horizontal bars, and it should say line weight, to make sure it's selected. If it's not, select it, and then on the 3 bars on the bottom, if you select it, show, it should show you that the line that weight that I selected isn't all that thick. So, all right, so everything looks good so far. And again, I'm going to be printing out a version to submit as a PDF, and then I'm also going to be printing one out or exporting it either as a DXF file 2013, or I'm going to print it and cut it out with an X-Acto with some scissors. Now what I want to do is type in text. I'm going to put my name on here. So type in text, and then just follow the commands and press enter. It defaults horizontally, and type in your name, click out of it, and then hit escape. So you'll put your name in here. And then this should probably be either in blue or in red. So when it goes on the laser cutter, it's activated, or if you print it out, it's also there. And make sure your name's on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot it. I'm going to essentially make it to a high quality AutoCAD PDF file. All right. So I could go up to the icon and hit plot. I'm going to make this a PDF file. And for now, what I'm going to do on this version is I'm just going to scale this to fit on the paper. I'm not worried about the scale size in this particular activity. So I'm going to center this on here. So it really doesn't have a scale right now, to be honest with you. But you should see something like that. All right. So now that I have plotted this, let's go ahead and minimize this drawing. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. And I essentially want to have 2 different drawings. One is going to be for the upload with the dimensions, and the other one is going to be one that I use to create the file. So I'll either export this as a 2013 DXF file and make sure my dimensions are off, or I'll go ahead and print this out, because if I'm going to be cutting this with an X-Acto or scissors or something like that, you want to make sure that you don't have those dimensions. And then if I want to change this and either make this in the primary blue or the red, and if I'm laser cutting this, everything has to be, the line weight has to be at 0, 0. So make sure that you do that. So line weight at 0, 0. But if you're printing this to cut it out, you're going to need a little thicker, and which is what I have here. And then I'll export this as a PDF, AutoCAD PDF. And I'm just doing the scale to fit for now. If I was going to use the laser cutter, I may do this at a scale, 1/8 scale. But for this particular application where I'm just cutting this out by hand, I just want to make sure this fits on 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to title this Flex to Cut Out, and I should be pretty much good to go. So you're going to upload your PDF with the dimensions, and then you're either going to laser cut or print out a version that you are cutting on a regular printer.